Hi guys, this is our final lesson of the year. Can you believe that? I cannot believe we are already done. Tomorrow you have an assessment on Canvas, and then next week is just review work. So there's nothing that you'll need to do, any videos to watch or anything like that. It's just review. So this is our last day learning new information. All right, I cannot believe that. Today we are working on comparing and ordering decimals, which is lesson 7. We are just doing one lesson today. Let's jump right in and get started. Make sure you have these pages of your math packet in front of you and that you are doing them with me. To compare decimals, you can use a number line or a place value. Example 1. At recess, Austin and his friends decided to have 2 races. One was 0.2 mile and the other was 0.4 mile. Which race was longer? You could also read that as 2/10 mile and 4/10 mile. So which race was longer? One way, use a number line. Graph 4/10 and 2/10. So notice on our number line we go from 0 to 1 and we go in increments of tenths. So 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, 1 whole. So now we need to graph 2/10 and 4/10. Since 4/10 is to the right of 2/10, it is bigger. So my alligator wants to eat 4/10. So 4/10 is greater than 2/10. Another way is to line up the decimal points and compare the digits in each place value position. In the ones place, they're both 0, so that doesn't tell us anything. But in the tenths place, there's a 2 and a 4. Well, which number is bigger? The 4. So 4/10 is bigger than 2/10. So the longer race was the one that was 4/10 a mile long. Notice that you can only compare 4/10 and 2/10 because they refer to the same whole, which is 1 mile. All right? Next page, example 2. Let me turn my marker on. Order 15/100ths, 38/100ths, and the 3/10ths from greatest to least. Remember, when we are ordering, it is super important to pay attention to what order they want us to put it in, which in this case is greatest to least greatest. So they're lining up the decimal points, all right? So we have 0.15, 0.38, and 0.3. Notice they put a 0 on the end because that's the same. We learned that in a couple lessons that this is the same as this. All right, so line up the decimal points. Make sure your decimal points are all in the same place. Place a 0 to the right of 3/10 so that all the numbers have the same number of decimal places, all right? You need to have them all have 2 decimals. Compare the digits in the plate in each position. I'm going to erase this because I've drawn a lot of lines. And then we'll come over here. All right, so let's first look at the 1 whole. Well, they're all 0, so that doesn't tell us anything. Come over to the tenths place. We have 1, 3, and 3. Well, we know that 1 is smaller than 3, so we know that this is going to be our smallest. Okay, and we have 2 more. We have the least. We're good there. Now, since these are both 3, we need to jump over to the hundredths. 8 and 0. Which one is bigger? 8. So that is our greatest decimal. And then 0.3 is in the middle. So the order from greatest to least is 0.38, 0.3, and 0.15. All right, check it. Color in your decimals and make sure that you have the most pieces colored in on the greatest and the least pieces colored in on the least. All right, guided practice, compare. So let's line them up vertically. I'll work over here in black. We have 0.2, 0.6. Start in your ones. They're both 0. That doesn't tell me anything. Come over to my tenths place. Which is bigger, 2 or 6? 6, so my alligator wants to eat my 6th. So 2/10 is less than 6/10. For number 2, we have 4/10 and 4/100. Well, start with your ones. They're both 0. That doesn't tell me anything. In my 10ths place, I have a 4 and a 0. Which one's bigger, 4 or 0? 4. So my alligator wants to eat 4/10. 4/10 is greater than 4/100. 3. Let's go over here. We have 6/10 and then 60/100. And let's compare. Zeros. Doesn't tell me anything. Over here, in my 10ths place, they're both 6s. Well, I know that this, I need to put a 0 on it, so all my decimals are equal. They all have 2 decimals. So they are equal. Number 4, 57/100, 7/10. I need to add a 0 so they all line up and they're all equal. Start with my 1s place. They're both 0, so that doesn't tell me anything. My 10ths place, one is a 5 and one is a 7. Which one's bigger, 5 or 7? 7, so my alligator wants to eat my 7/10. So 57/100 is less than 7/10. Let's do a little erase so we have more room to work for the bottom 2. In the bottom 2, we are going to order from greatest to least. Remember, you need to pay attention to the order that they want you to do it in. And in this case, it is greatest to least. So let's line them all up. We have 2/10, 2/100, 4/10. Okay, we need to add our zeros so they're all the same amount. And start in our 1s. Well, they're all 0, so that doesn't tell us anything. Move over here. Well, what order does it go in from greatest to least? Well, the highest number is 4. So 4/10 is going to go first. Then we have 2/10 because 2 comes next. And then 2/100 is our least high, or our least highest decimal. So from greatest to least, we have 4/10, 2/10, 2/100. Move over to the next one, number 6. Line them up. 51/100, 34/100, 46/100. Okay, we're looking at the 1s first. They're all 0s. That's not telling us anything. Come over here. What's the highest number? 5. So our greatest is going to be 51/100. And I'm going to mark it out because we already did it. Now, which one is higher, 3 or 4? 4. So that's what comes next, 46/100. Mark it out. And that leaves 34/100 as our least high. Line it up, make sure they're all even, and then go ahead and compare and figure out what's the highest decimal. Or if it wants it from least to greatest, then start here. Moving down to independent practice, give this one a shot. Down here, notice that you are using a number line and deciding if it's true or false. So it gives you the statement here, and you need to decide if it's true or false, graphing it on the number line. So I'm going to do number 20 as an example. I'm going to graph 46/100, and then I'm going to graph 48/100. I see that 48/100 is more to the right than 46/100, which means it's higher. So my alligator wants to eat 48/100, which means this statement is false. All right, all of these up here are what we just did. So those should be pretty easy. And then I just did 20 as an example, so you should be able to do the rest of those. All right, check with the answer key that's on Canvas and then do the homework. And then your assessment for this whole week is under tomorrow's module on Canvas. Make sure you click submit so I can see your answers. I hope you come pick up your packets next week because I really want to see you and I really, really miss you. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.